Okay, we're doing a test screening with John and Mark and the John and Mark Show. And we got a couple of old guys with a lot of experience in life and a lot of stories, frankly, about coming up in different, ways that were good and different ways that were, a little traumatizing, maybe. But, the basis of our show is telling our story and sharing our experiences, strength, and our hope. And really, the purpose of this show is to hope that some kids or people that need inspiration can see it and feel like they're not alone in the world. So,
Well
John,
said.
you have had some disadvantages in life physically, and even with that, you become a professional athlete. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Sure. Basically, I acquired polio when I was 6 months old. I was born in Enid, Oklahoma. The vaccine, I believe, was available, and there was like a 3 week span, and the vaccine was not available, and I got polio, and that's kind of how that started. Um,
It's very interesting, John. And I ask you a quick question. You have struggled with that. Had you gotten the vaccine, um, that that could have been a game changer for you. Does that alter your opinion about the COVID vaccine and some of this other stuff?
well,
Because
that's,
you're uniquely qualified to talk about
I
vaccine.
know, and but I'm certainly not an expert. But yes, and I think as well as anyone, I don't shy away from making my opinion known. And that's one of those ones that I will journey into, but I don't battle it too much because people really can't appreciate it because it didn't happen to them. So yes,
Exactly.
the way I feel about it is I didn't get the vaccine. I got polio.
Yeah.
It's not a debate.
Well, it's a cautionary tale,
Right. I
But
mean,
and I think I'm the same with you, and especially in regards to this show and any content that I make. I absolutely do not get politics involved because I don't want to talk about that because there's no fixing it. It's so corrupt on both sides, and if I can help a child
yes.
or an adult directly, then and I'm going to limit this show to like 5 minutes, and then we'll cut the tape and just kind of review some things. But if if I can help somebody else, I'll deal with it. But if it's politics, I don't trust them.
Hey, Mark, I have a private page, Classic Racquetball,
Right?
and it kind of covers past racquetball stuff. And I have a rule there: no politics,
No religion.
do not, no religion, no demeaning people.
Yeah.
Something comes up, and I hate this term, but it's true. I have a zero tolerance policy. And if you do it, I don't care if you were a past national champ.
Yep.
You're
And
gone.
that's the way to be when you're moderating things. And you and I have moderated enough groups, live and online, to know where it goes bad.
Yeah.
And
But
but
let me
I
just say this one thing about the vaccine thing. When I have spoken with people, what I say is, this is my situation. And they'll go, well, um, I said, do you think the research on vaccines have gotten better or worse? I'm not saying it's the end all and everything we hear is correct. I'm just saying that it's life and death. And if you have an opportunity to protect yourself, I feel you should. But that's
Well, it's a personal thing.
it is.
I just asked you. I asked you the
question.
question just because your personal life is affected, and it's nobody's choice but their own. But hey, this is a guy that might have gotten help. And I'm getting a kidney replacement, transplant, and I don't have a choice. If I don't get the vaccines, then I don't get a transplant. So, as far as I'm concerned, do you want to die of kidney failure, renal failure, or do you want to roll the dice on the vaccine? I'm going to take my best chances. And John and I are both poker players as well as other things, but we both play poker very poorly, but we've done it for a number of years. And I was telling a buddy of mine who was actually a professional poker player in Vegas. I'm going to go out and see him in 3 weeks. But he's got some illnesses and everybody's getting towards the end of their lives. And I told him, I said, Pete, I said, look, I said, I'm at the final table of life. And John, I believe you are too.
Yep. Exactly.
And we're playing huge stacks. I mean, we're in the 1% of the 1% of the world. If you have a house and food in your refrigerator and you're not afraid of somebody killing you or whatever every night or whatever. I mean, we're in the 1%. We actually have our own cars. We can drive. We can go do whatever we want to. I mean, it's amazing. And
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
At the final table, do we still have 10 people?
Yeah, right. 9. A little more elbow room. But I told him, I said, I've sucked out on people, or situations a bunch to get here. And you know how that feels, John. I mean, you get it in with pocket threes and the guy has aces and then you flop a 3 and you're like, I'm moving forward. And it's like, hey, I did that and I've had diabetes. And they said, Mark, you're going to die. And that was 3 years ago. They did surgery on me, and now I'm here to face the new problem. So I'm telling you, I'm okay. I'm living life, and I love it every single day.
And Mark, that's what makes you you, because adversity is meant to be overcome, and not everyone grasps that concept. It doesn't make it easy, but you can. It's all about your attitude and how you want to go about it, even if it's the worst adversity in your life. Make the best of it.
And I'm telling you, I have had a lot of success in business and different things. And I was going to say, the manifestation concept. I think you and I are doing the market, two old guys show or whatever we're going to call it, but we'll call this podcast, something that enshrines
old souls.
I love it. I love it. But if we could manifest your success in what you said, you're how old, John?
73.
Okay. So you're 73 years old and you're saying, hey, I want to make a shift. If I make an extra $3,000 a month and I'm going to go do some other things that I want to do, let's you and I decide that we're going to manifest that. Let's talk about that for the first 5 minutes of our show every week and say, what are we doing? And then people can check on us, because I believe if you manifest something and you talk about it endlessly, it happens.
Well, there's no question, unless you're just a scammer, if you put something out there about what you're going to do, you need to kind of do it.
And I believe, I don't figure it out, but I believe that our minds, if they're concentrating on something, we're doing it. And, it's like, you want to become the racquetball phenom or whatever, whatever it is, I believe and I'll say it right now on this show live, and it's what? November 9th, 2023. I believe if you and I say, okay, John and I are going to work on getting him $3,000 a month on some kind of business that will allow him to do the charity and the coaching and the mentoring and different things that he wants to do in his life, I think we'll make that happen.
I think we will too.
Yeah, but the idea of our show is in keeping with the helping others and getting resources out of life. And if we can help just one kid or one person by our talking and our stories about our alcoholic fathers or how we didn't do well in school because of this, that, or the other thing. I mean, I think when it hit me that we need to record this was when you and I were talking about getting held back in school and how traumatizing that was. I said, I was held back too. And I don't know why they didn't give me better skills, you know. And I see my daughter working with my grandkids. If I could have only had that interaction in my life, my life would have been much different.
I agree. I mean, the fact that I was the first person in our family to graduate from high school is one thing. The fact I went to college and I actually graduated is a minor miracle.
And what school was that?
Well, they're currently the #1 college football team in Oklahoma. That'd be Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I deserve that because I'm a Sooner.
Now,
I'm a Sooner and John's a Cowboy, and we there's a lot of good-natured ribbing that's happened over the years.
And you know what? I grew up a Sooner fan, and every Thanksgiving, OU Nebraska.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of the reasons I was a football fan is I kind of dreaded family get-togethers because I knew they were just going to turn into a big problem.
Right.
So I watched football. So I was an OU guy forever. And I thought Oklahoma State was 2 silos in a barn. And I happened to go there and realize everybody had been lying to me. And that's where I ended up. I'm glad I went there. I root for OU now, unless it's against Oklahoma State.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I went to a little college in the mountains in Colorado called Western State College.
Great place. Cold as shit.
OSU wouldn't have taken me. You know, I was such a screw up in high school. I couldn't have got in that school. But I flowered, you know, when I got to college because they didn't want to be on the hot tar roof, you know. But I'm an OU fan because my daughter went to OU medical school. But you know, one of the things that I think deserves, you know, a tie-in on our show is, you know, the sports thread that goes through things. But, you know, and I know I'm going way over on our test time, but I want to say this about Coach Prime. If we're talking about schools, that guy is building men out of boys. And when he showed up on the scene, he's like, you better respect the women that work here. You better, you know, present yourself well. And the thing that encouraged me the most is the first time Coach Prime got beat. And he got up there and everybody wanted a shot at him because he's so, you know, full of himself, or he's got so much confidence. They're like, oh, we got him. We're gonna rub his face in this loss. And he said, enjoy yourself, because this is the worst we're ever gonna be. And you enjoy it now because it's gonna be harder and harder and harder to beat us going forward. And I love that guy's spirit, and he's standing up for those boys. And I love men that are helping young men, you know, grow.
He's a very unique individual.
Yeah.
I had my doubts when he first came in. And some of the things I still kind of struggle with. One of his I keep receipts deal, that's kind of like everybody can keep receipts. But everything you're saying is true. He is a leader of people and young men. And I think he will do a great job at CU. And I wish him nothing but the best.
Well, and if that inspires one coach or one person to say, "Hey, it's football. Let's take our eye off football for just a second and let's get back to the basics with these boys and give them a love of self, a respect for their elders and that kind of thing, and see what kind of competitive edge that gives us." I think it's going to wow people at how much of a difference they make. Because I don't know what the percentage is, John, but what is it? 2%, 1% of these kids go on and play pro ball?
It's minimal.
Yeah.
I
They
don't
better
know
have
what that
something
is.
else to think about.
Yeah.
They better have a way to get a job and a way to raise their families because, unfortunately, not everybody gets to go play football.
Yeah, you and I, all of this just leads to other things. And you're so correct. I mean, I'm always in awe of great athletes who see beyond their playing days, who
Yeah.
have a plan. And it's huge. I mean, when I stepped away from racquetball, that certainly isn't like stepping away from an NFL career. But when I stepped away, there was this big void. And I adapted, and all is good. But there are many people that are professional athletes across the board that what they do is their life. And they've not thought about what happens after. And when all of a sudden they're not there, it's problem. It's like retirement.
Yeah.
Retirement.
Well, and the other thing is, if the only thing they taught you was sports, the only thing they taught you was that particular skill, even if you made some money at it, once they take that away, you're done.
Without direction, or as you said earlier, without a purpose, without hobbies, without a mission, that money can be as dangerous to a person as it is helpful.
And there's so many, and part of our discussion earlier was, your niece that was giving out the pizza donations to the boys basketball crew or whatever in the inner city. A lot of these, men especially, and the ladies are the same thing, but that's a different show. But you and I could talk to the kids. They don't have a dad. And if they don't have a dad or a grandpa or an uncle, I would love for them to be able to watch this show. I'd love for them to be able to, send the messages into our website and our social media and to ask us questions and how do I take how do I take a different road, or how should I invest my money? How does the stock market work? How do you start a business? How do you what's the worst thing you could do in business? Pick the wrong partner, right, John?
Been down that road. Yeah.
Right. We both have. So, if we can provide some of that knowledge and guidance, that I think it's a viable show. So I'm gonna close out, and I'm gonna give you the last minute, and then I'll cut to tape, and then I'll
my last minute is this. Thank you, Mark. And this is a great idea. And we both have valuable experiences in life. I think they're being able to share some of these things for other people. If it helps them, that's great. I'm just a regular guy. You're a regular guy.
Totally.
We both had things we had to overcome. I'm not the president of the United States, nor are you, but we've accomplished some things well. And that path from 0 to 73 is an interesting path.
And we got some fun stories for people. If they tune in and they subscribe to our YouTube channel when we get that finalized, they're going to like it. They're going to like the stories, you know, because there's some doozies in there.
You know, I do think out of nowhere, the comment that the name of it could be Old Souls, it's kind of resonating a little.
Done. I'm going to make this file Old Souls, you know, pilot, and then we'll see what happens.
Mark, you are the man.
Have a great day, John.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
What a great guy.